Hey, what's up? This your boy Icewater 815. I want to personally welcome you to the Truckology 101 channel. On this channel, I drop random videos about the trucking industry based on my experience and my research. Whether you looking to get your CDLs, start your own authority, or learn how to deal with a broker, I'm sure I got some videos on here that can help you out. If you ever need to get in contact with me, contact information is in the description box. If you find any of these videos valuable, drop me a like, drop me a subscription, drop me a comment. I'm just trying to lead the trucking industry better than I found it, one video at a time. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? I'm back at you. This is my first quarter video, just an outlook on the market, man. So it is what it is, the good, the bad, the ugly. Y'all stay tuned.
They say never. I say never tell me what to do. A person will never put you in a position above them. That's never a lie, always true. Success never comes without risk, and risk never comes without fear. YouTube is a smoke and mirror, never how it appear.
All right, man, look. Y'all already know what it is. I ain't going to waste no time. This is the first quarter of 2023, and we just going to I had to make some notes because when I was doing my research to put this video together, I was running into so much garbage about the trucking industry that my mind was just cluttered with all type of nonsense, foolishness, and I didn't want to get on the video and repeat some of that garbage that I've seen out there with people posting videos about, people writing articles about. So I want to stay on focus here, give y'all a nice quick video about what I think about the first quarter and where I see the industry headed. So right off top, we just gonna talk about the interest rates. And the interest rates are going up and they expected to continue to go up, which means consumers are not gonna be spending money like that because of the fear of the unknown. So how that affects us in trucking is that decreases the demand for products. Remember, trucking is really driven by consumer spending. And since inflation is steadily going up, the Fed's playing with the numbers, they gonna hurt trucking, which I understand why they doing what they doing for the economy. I get that, don't get me wrong, but it's hurting the trucking industry at the same time. And the feds ain't never cared about the trucking industry whatsoever, so I'm not too surprised at what's going on. So not to spend a lot of time on that, we also got to look at the fact that there's no more stimulus money being pumped into the economy. And people who got that stimulus money, that extra money that was floating around, they pretty much already bought whatever it is they wanted to buy. They're not going to rebuy it. I mean, you can only put so many big screen TVs in a room. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Hey. Another thing I noticed when doing my research is that the big 3PL companies are moving more towards like web-based bookings where they on a low board, even on a that low board, I've seen it where it's like a book it now price, and that price is relatively low. I haven't really seen a book it now price that made me want to be like, first of all, I don't even know why anybody would use the book it now feature, but I'll say that for another video. I never seen any book it now price that made me want to book a load, but what the book it now price does for the 3PL companies and for the shipper is it increases the profit for the 3PL companies because they can decrease the amount of manpower that they need, which in turns, they can pass on some of those savings to the shipper as far as getting more lanes and all that good stuff. It really only hurts the carriers, bottom line. Another thing that I noticed when doing research is most people in the industry who making predictions about how 2023 is going to play out for trucking, I've seen a lot of them say that the second quarter we'll see this, or based on this, we'll see that. And I'm like, those people usually aren't in the field actually doing the work that like me and you doing, and they really relying on raw data from previous years. And if they relying on data from like 2020, 2021, they're they're not going to be able to accurately predict what's going to happen here in the market. Another thing I seen people focusing on when they was doing making their predictions or making their videos is they focusing on the amount of new trucks that'll be delivered, the waiting list, the truck sales, the backlog, which I get that. So, basically they saying, well, if people ordering these trucks or people receiving these trucks, then the market must be doing well or whatever. Well, I think that focus is a little flawed because we don't really know why them people ordered trucks. We don't know if they ordered the trucks based on a forecast for demand or if they ordered the trucks to replace equipment. Without really knowing why they ordered the trucks, we can't really use that as an indicator for anything other than companies getting new equipment. And with all the emission stuff going on, companies got to replace equipment twice as fast as they used to. So I think that's a little misleading. And based on all my research I did for this video, what I came across and what was very interesting to me is when I looked at all the other valleys in the trucking cycle, freight cycle, whatever we want to call it, I've noticed a common pattern. And that common pattern was it took anywhere from 24 to 36 months for the market to recover. I got to say this before I move forward with the rest of the stuff. The trucking industry is on the front line of the supply chain. So it feels the shift in the economy first. And that's like good or bad. But what's really crazy is trucking is really similar to a pyramid scheme in the sense that the majority of carriers who come into the business, they drive the race down because they don't understand that running a business is not about making money. It's about making a profit. So they operate and break even until they have a major loss and go out of business, but not before they recruit other carriers and pass on that losing blueprint to the other carriers who think that as long as I don't make the same mistake that carrier made, I'll be okay. And the cycle just competes itself. And that's where you see the undercutting of this, the undercutting of that. And why did I say that? Because the spot market actually sets the price for the rates, believe it or not. When it falls, so do contracted rates because brokers undercut other brokers on the contracted rates. So the spot market and the contract rates are mutually exclusive. So we got a whole bunch of carriers coming in, just hauling, don't really know lanes, hauling this, hauling that, which what we're experiencing now. And they end up going out of business, but not before they recruit somebody else, like whether they're making YouTube videos, bragging, TikTok, Instagram, bragging about how much money that they're making, but never really talking about how much profit that they're making. But I do want to say the ones who are going to make it through this valley in this particular trucking industry are those carriers who remain loyal to their customers, their brokers in 2017, 2018, and 2020, and 2021 when the spot market outperformed contracted rates. So I said all that to say this because this is what y'all been waiting on. I don't see spot market rates recovering anytime soon enough to allow carriers a chance to sustain a profit margin equal to the sacrifices, the hours, the time that it puts in to running a trucking company. I still think that we have at least, we already went through a year. I still think we have at least 12 to 14 months before we see any type of relief that we can start to breathe again. I think they're going to give us just enough to get by, but not enough to get ahead. So there's some things that I think that we need to keep an eye on, because these things could actually shift the trucking industry economy one way or the other. And I'm not sure which way, but one major thing that we got to keep an eye on is the Russian and Ukraine relationship. Another thing that we got to keep an eye on is the inflation rate. Another thing that we got to keep an eye on is the weather. The weather is going to play a big factor in the produce season. And the produce season, as I said about a year ago somewhere in a video, the produce season really kickstarts the second quarter of any freight season. So depending on how that goes. We also got to pay attention to who's laying off employees. That's going to be important to be able to predict what's going to happen in the trucking industry or the freight cycle. We also got to look at any major plants that shut down. It's a trickle-down effect. We got to pay attention to that. Here are my suggestions moving forward, and I'm going to let y'all go. If you run in reefer, I would turn the reefer off and I will focus on dry loads. I think that's one way you'll be able to sustain these low rates. If you run in van, you run in dry box, I think that you should focus on forever green products or evergreen products, whatever you want to call them. These are products that people have to buy no matter what. I won't go into what they are. You in this industry, you should know what they are. If you run in flatbed, I think you should focus on 20 and 40 foot container chassis, because that'll allow you to fit a partial with it. So man, look, that's my take on the first quarter here in 2023. I wish y'all all the best of luck, and hopefully you found this information valuable in this video. This your boy Ice Water, man. Look, I'm just trying to make the trucking industry better, or leave it better than I found it, one video at a time.
Been through a lot of pain in my life, and I pray the Lord take it all away.